In this video, we're going to take a look at flipping data in Excel. And this may be a problem that you've had if you're dealing with some certain types of data sets. And basically, you can see on this chart here how the beginning date is 2019, and at the ending date of the chart is 2004. And obviously, when you make a time series chart, you want it to move forward like time does. So really, 2004 should be on the left-hand side, and 2019 should be on the right-hand side. And, there's a couple ways to do this, but I'm going to look at one particular way. And it can actually be pretty powerful and it scales very well for large data sets. So I'm only going to do three pieces of data here, but you could do it for any amount. Once I show you how to do it, it's pretty easy. So, basically what we want to do is we want to flip this data around. There's not a super easy way to do it. And so what we're going to actually do is manipulate it instead. So because we want to start with 2004, we're simply going to type it in. And we just want to add 1 to that year because we want the data to be flowing in the same direction that we want the chart to be flowing. So you can see we now have the actual date data in the order that we want. So how are we going to capture the data that's up here and bring it down here in the right order? What we're going to use is we're going to use a lookup function. It's a pretty powerful tool. You may have used it before, but perhaps not in this context. And I think that it'll help you over time if you use this. It's certainly going to help you solve a problem right now. And it's good to know for the future too, even if you don't even have this problem right now. So what we need to do first is just create a piece of data that we're going to use for our lookup after. You'll see what I mean once I get to it. So we're just going to start with the 1 and we're going to add 1 to it. We actually want to start it on the date piece there. So you can see we're just numbering them. And you can imagine if we had 10,000 rows, we would just take this down and it would be that many. And this is the way that you get the power from this tool and the automation that it brings you. So now we're going to use that piece that we just added there, those numbers, along with the date that we have here, and the date that we created down here, and of course the data itself. And between those 4 pieces, we have everything that we need to flip the data around. So we're going to use the HLOOKUP function. So HLOOKUP, there's 2 lookup functions, there's HLOOKUP and VLOOKUP, and all that means is H stands for horizontal and V stands for vertical. And we need horizontal because we're pulling horizontal data. If we were pulling data across, we would take the VLOOKUP, but since we're going down, we're going to take the HLOOKUP. So this is a pretty basic formula. Basically, it asks for a lookup value, and that's saying, what do you want to search for? And what we want to do is search for the 2004. So we're going to select that. We're going to put a comma in, and now we're going to tell it, where do you want us to look for the 2004? So we're going to select all of our data. And imagine if we had a lot more data, we would select all that data instead. Now, one thing that's worth noting is because we're going to be automating this, I'm going to lock these cells. And I can do that by pressing F4. And I should really lock this cell as well, because we want to be able to drag these formulas across. We don't want to enter them multiple times. You create a formula once, you do it the right way, you move it around, and that's how you get powerful Excel. So we're going to lock this one as well. But of course, we need to be able to move it along. So we're only going to lock the number, not the letter. Now, what it's asking next is, what's your row index number? So you're looking for 2004 in this amount of data. What do you want it to return? Well, that's what we created this for. We want it to return the second row of data. And we're going to lock this one as well, because when we drag this formula across, we need to make sure that we've locked in the fact that it can't move from A to B, but we do want it to move up and down. So we're going to lock the A cell, but not the number cell. And the last piece is just the range lookup, and this can either be true or false. You're almost always going to use false. False means it has to be an exact match, which is what we want. True can create some errors. So basically, never use true. We can get into that another time. So that's our formula. It's just HLOOKUP with a couple of numbers in there. And we can do that. And you can see I've now pulled this 1341 is pulling from this cell over here. And because we've made the formula dynamic, we can just copy it and paste it across all of our data. And you can see that we've now managed to actually invert all the data. So it's all the exact same data, just in the opposite order. And so if we wanted to fix this chart, all we really have to do is just take this up. We can just paste it in. If we want, we can even clean this up and just delete it, get rid of that, and ta-da! Now we start at 2004 and end at 2019. And you can just imagine the different ways that you can use this and how much data you can use it for. And it can be very powerful. It's definitely a good trick. If you want to see more tricks like this, it'd be great if you subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to build it out, and it really helps if you add those subscriptions. I'm trying to get to 1,000. Still got a ways to go. Appreciate it.